Hey guys, what's up? Deck here. Welcome back to Dezrakaz. And today we are going to be reacting to Cohhcarnage's announcement of Emberville, a game that he's been working on with some people and all that stuff. So we're going to go ahead and watch this. I did not see the full thing through. I don't know much about Cohhcarnage. I think he played the crazy guy in Cyberpunk 2077. That's about all I know about him. So I do know he also streams on Twitch, and he's been a name on YouTube for a very, very long time. I've heard his name mentioned multiple times on the Angry Joe show here in the last decade and a half. So let's go ahead and get started and see what his new game Emberville is all about.
Hi everybody, my name is Cohhcarnage. It's very good to see you. And I have some stuff
I like
to
the
talk
cat
about today.
over in the bottom corner.
As you guys know, I've been streaming on Twitch for about 10 years, and in that time, we have done all sorts of other things on this channel. One thing that I've always really wanted to dive into is game dev. I've tried it a couple times in the past, and it has come with mixed results. However,
I do like this background. This background looks really cool. Little cogs moving and everything. And you gotta have the cat. So I wonder if the cat is actually there. Because it's a very well-behaved cat. Usually, as soon as the camera starts, they just run off.
some very quick background before we continue. I was approached a while ago now, months ago, by somebody who was a fan of the channel and said, you know, I've been watching you for a long time, and I understand your philosophy and what you like to play, how you like to work, and understanding your limitations, we want you to be involved in our project.
Okay, so they were already making the game. And they came to Cohhcarnage and were like, hey, we're making this game. Can you help us out with it? And that's pretty cool. They must have been fans of them and all that stuff. It'd be really cool if I'm making a game and all that. I would actually love to be able to, for example, give a game to Angry Joe show and be like, hey, check this out. Let me get your help on it. See what you can do. Because it's just going to make everything better. Especially if you want it to review good, then the people you should be asking are people who actually play games and review games and know exactly the genre that you are trying to make. Obviously don't try to make a sports game and then go ask somebody who only plays FPS games. But I think that is a really good strategy to use if you can actually go through with it. I know a lot of people are doing the same thing with the Completionist, where he is doing his own helping of indie developers and all that stuff.
The project that they introduced to me had a relatively verbose demo. It had a very good idea about what it wanted to be.
Okay, so
but
it's
it was
already
still
complete.
relatively early in development. Still had years left to go.
They already had an idea.
What they wanted to do is bring me in as a producer to not only help make the game as good as it could, but to help kind of shape some of the core mechanics, kind of help design some of these things, and frankly make it something incredible.
I wonder if he also put any money towards funding it.
I would like to introduce you to Emberville.
All right, it's a great name though too. All right. I wonder what else these guys have worked on, if anything. So far, it looks cool. It looks like a little dungeon kind of roguelike kind of thing. That's pretty badass. Like, he's got like the Zelda 2D or like the top-down Zelda game vibe. It looks like fighting that's similar to like Stardew Valley. Kind of looks like a 2D version of that one Blue Fire game. That was pretty good. It looks like it can be difficult. His health's going down pretty quick in just those little small segments. Looks like you got your own little like Navi sprite following you around. So that's pretty cool. I wonder if he's going to do anything to help you out later on. Alright, so there's the overworld. It's pretty good. Alright, so I'm wondering if they just walked up there to teleport, or if this is like he walked up there and this is before and now this is after. So it's either like a teleport thing or he walked up there and then this is what he built afterwards. It looks like it's using a lot of the same assets as like Stardew Valley, where as far as like the fence posts here and some of the things like that. And the greenhouse looks very similar to Stardew Valley. Alright, you got the water. So I think he did say something about fishing, so... Yeah. It's got very Stardew Valley vibes. But it looks like they have more emphasis on like treasure and shit.
My friends.
Oh, get the damn fish.
That, my friends, is the very, very early look at Emberville. So what Emberville is, and it now is
all right, it's going to be on Steam.
Please.
What Emberville is it is this new cool take on kind of what a Stardew Valley would look like if it leaned far more into the combat.
All right, that's what I was
thinking. More of a
thinking.
darker tone, and more importantly, had a...
So, I'm going to go back here a few seconds. So you see this guy's running around on the screen right there a little tiny bit. His health bar is completely black. Does that mean he has, like, he's basically living on 1 HP? Like, are they struggling with this dungeon as much? Or they might have had, like, a auto, like, never die kind of feature, just so they could show off, like, you know, they just coded it in. So it's like, oh, we can't die, but we need to show this section. Because if so, that means that it could be difficult, which would be cool. But I always liked the Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley is a great game. I'd like the dungeons in it and everything, but there's not that much fighting in Stardew Valley. There's a good amount, but once you see a little bit through it and you get through all the floors and everything, it just kind of ends. So this looks like it's going to be a lot better as far as you got more fighting, more treasure, things like that.
Was more of a darker tone, and more importantly, had a giant, thoroughly fleshed out procedural dungeon in which you then go into, you farm, you progress, you rescue people, you build a town, and...
Okay, so with that then, it's procedurally generated like Minecraft or something. I think Stardew Valley might be procedurally generated as well, as far as each floor in the dungeon. But this guy said you also find, like, townspeople. So I'm guessing that area, like, you build, I'm guessing it's an area you build. You're building the town. And maybe you have to build, like, a house for people. And then when you save them, they join you. Kind of thing. Like, so maybe you start off by yourself. But as you go through, you're adding more and more people to your town. So unlike Stardew Valley, where you're moving into a town, here you are basically recruiting the residents or saving the residents to recruit for your town. And that's a really cool way to progress it. I wonder if there's going to be like a limit on that, or if there's only like certain people, or are the people going to be procedurally like generated as well? Like instead of like, oh, floor 500 or whatever, you always find Scott. Or is it going to be like, oh yeah, just randomly you might find 10 people your first game, or you might find nobody, kind of thing.
Frankly, it's just this really interesting, deeper look at everything I've kind of liked about these games, but in a more fleshed out, more kind of deep tone. So I want to point out a few things. First of all, the sound effects you just heard, all placeholder. These are all placeholder sound effects.
Okay.
This is all just kind of to get the game out there.
I wonder if any of the
kind of
assets
there,
are also
Cool.
placeholder.
So also, I saw some
good?
people asking about some stuff in chat. So this here,
because there's it's not bad that they're using a lot of the assets that's similar to like Stardew Valley. The problem is when someone looks at this game, they're just going to think, oh, what mod is that for Stardew Valley? And I don't want that to be the case. Emberville, so far, it looks like it would be a really cool game. And I don't want it to have such a blazingly, like, apparent comparison, if you know what I mean. Like, there's that, the grave robber game or whatever it is, where you're, like, digging gravekeeper. A lot of people bring that similar to Stardew Valley, but it's different enough where it stand on its own. If you look at the dungeons in this game, it does not give off that Stardew Valley vibe as much, but this overworld right here definitely does. And I just don't want it to be compared heavily as like a Stardew ripoff or anything. I think that's the issue a lot of Pokemon like ripoffs have, is like Tim and stuff. It's like, yeah, they're great. They could be great games. They could work on their own. A lot of like the Pokemon hacks can work on their own. The problem is it is so similar to Pokemon as far as like how it looks and everything. It's just giving off like the, oh, it's a cheap knockoff vibe to it. And I don't want that to be the case. One like Monster Hunter did it great, where it's like you can compare it to Pokemon, but it's completely different in that aspect. So you won't actually be like, oh, okay, well it's similar in like two ways, but nothing else.
Well, you know what? Let's kind of do this. Let's do this. I wasn't going to do this, but you know what? Now that we're doing this, I want to do this. Let's talk about this game while we watch the trailer, and we'll kind of like be able to a little bit more kind of, you know, I'll let you in on what's going on here. So first of all, a couple things. Let's talk about what this game is.
I'm also checking the cat down here. I kind of want to see if the cat's on a loop. Like if it's just like maybe a 10-minute video of a cat that he has on a loop playing back to back. So I've just been keeping an eye on that. You all probably know I haven't watched this guy before.
Is basically this game where you wake up having no idea what's going on. You don't know why you are where you are. Okay. And you are trying to figure that out in the course of kind of exploring this new world.
So I wonder if you find lore.
This is a combat-heavy game. Not only is it a combat-heavy game, but you will have multiple different weapon types. There will be multiple skill trees. There's a full inventory. There is lots of loot. Now, we actually already have the...
Lots of loot is amazing. I love lots of loot in games. That is the problem I'm having with Starfield right now, is because I am just collecting everything. And you can't do that in a game like Starfield. But I want to. So I'm hoping I can just loot everything I can in here. I just hoard it all.
UI and the inventory stuff, all that's done, but we did not put that in the trailer yet because we're still figuring out how that's all going to look. You also notice there's that little thing flying next to you. That's the mementos.
Oh,
that plays into all sorts of interesting stuff as well.
Say he's like a Mentos, like the thing you drop in Coke.
Also has some customizability, plays into the story.
And so he said mementos. Is that like a memory thing? Like, does that have something to do with his actual memory or getting it back? Because he said you're trying to learn who you are. So maybe this thing knows who you are, and it tells you after each certain amount of time.
A lot. It's some very cool stuff. So, we're doing some very cool things with this game that I'm extremely excited to do. For instance, like what I like to call procedural QOL and things like that.
Right.
This is all stuff I've talked about on stream that I've talked about always wanting to see implemented in games, but I've never done it yet. So I'm very excited in doing this. Somebody said, are you a dev? Are you backing it? I'm a producer on this game. So let's talk about that real quick. What am I doing in this game? Every week I meet with the team for generally an hour or more. What I do is I learn exactly what's been done that week during what's called a sprint. We help plan out what's going to be in the next sprint, and I go over and give feedback on pretty much everything that's happened so far in that game. I have already seen implemented things that we have talked about, prototyped, and then put into the game. It is awesome.
So it sounds like he has a very similar job to what Todd Howard currently does. So if you don't know, Todd Howard has been a big part of Bethesda for a very long time. And he's gotten a lot of bad rep recently, especially with like Fallout 76 and things like that. Now, Todd is very, very skilled at PR, public relations and all of that stuff. And he can say the right things to get people excited. But Bethesda doesn't always like hit on it. I believe there was a Todd Howard interview where he stated in his new position at the place, he actually has to go in, or I say new position, but it's newer. Like he's been in it for a while. But his thing is he goes to different studios and see what they're working on with like the same thing of, oh, what progress do you have? Work on this. Let's make this good and all of that. And a lot of people are saying that's where Bethesda is actually failing right now, because Todd Howard was apparently like, let's do a bit of an example is if you work at a Pizza Hut, right? So let's say you've got one guy at the Pizza Hut, and that guy is the one who trains everybody. He knows how to make the pizza the best. He makes sure everybody's pizza's looking good. He QC checks everything. He's good to go. That Pizza Hut is amazing. All right. But he worked hard. He did what he had to do. And you want to reward him. So you promote him. So you say, hey, we're going to go ahead and have you as a district guy. We want you to go through all of the Pizza Huts and go to 20 different locations here throughout the year. Just go to all of them and see that, hey, check up, see if they need anything, see if they're doing all right, show them a few tips and all that stuff. And that seems like what Todd Howard did was he got to that point where, oh man, you made us the best game, Skyrim, Fallout 3, and all of this other stuff. We're going to go ahead, we're giving you this opportunity, you're going to be promoted and all that. But they didn't replace the guy or like the job that he had before. So you no longer have that Todd Howard enthusiastic person focusing on one game, getting everything done, where it could actually harm the place now. So it's like now he's overlooking all of the different things. It's like, oh, that's great. But you still have to have someone who at least knows a good amount to go into the job after him so you can keep them focused on that project. And I believe that's where a lot of people are saying like Bethesda messed up is they no longer have that Todd Howard in that position. Todd Howard has too many things to do now. He can't focus. And while that means Starfield came out and it's supposed to be really polished as far as like the other Bethesda games go and all of that other stuff, it's just not, it doesn't hit as much as far as like the heart of the game. And same thing with Fallout 76 is like it was lacking some of that content, some of that heart, some of that uniqueness that like the other Fallout games had. And that could be, brought out to, you just don't have that person committing that much time into that project. And, it's unfortunate because you want to reward people who deserve it, but you have to actually replace them when you do move them up. Or else you're moving them up into another position. So it's like, yeah, he can focus on everything now and get a bunch of games put together. But, the individual projects could suffer because of it. So it seems like this guy, he is like a YouTuber or whatever, Twitch streamer. So he doesn't have to go to different studios, so that's good with that. He's just kind of working with these people right here. And that's great. Like, that's basically what Todd Howard did before. And that's the entire point of it. I'll stop rambling on this and ranting, and we'll go.
And the team behind it is fantastic. So they're a very fast-working, very dedicated team. And it's going very well so far. Second of all, what is this game? This game,
These crab guys also remind me of the Stardew Valley crabs. The little rocks that you hit. Except that guy looks fucking freaky.
Is going to be $25. It is going to have an open EA development cycle with community feedback.
How much is Stardew Valley on release? Or just how much is Stardew Valley now? Stardew Valley price. 15. Yeah, but this has more into it though. Also, 25 is not bad. I'll pay 25 for this. And then, what was he saying as well?
$25. Yeah. It is going to have an open EA development cycle with community feedback.
Okay, so EA is an early access. I don't know if I like early access that much. It could be done well. It is better when these indie devs do it, because sometimes early access is the only way you can actually have it. I just don't want it to end up being something that it ends up in early access a bit damaged, and then it ends up nobody's playing it by the time it gets good. That's my issue with early access.
Subnautica, Baldur's Gate 3, there will be 0 microtransactions.
Baldur's Gate 3 was an interesting one because it was on early access for like a year before it came out. But a lot of people didn't know that. And I think the reason is it was a smaller game. You know, it's not really a AAA budget title. But a lot of people wasn't following it unless they were like big Baldur's Gate fans. And the thing about that is since nobody knew about it, a lot of people didn't know it was in early access. And a lot of the actual hype came from it right before release when they started doing like the bear trailer. And they started actually following all of this stuff that was, pretty good as far as, oh, this is hype. We're not going to have microtransactions. We're not going to have this. And then people just wanted to support it just because of that. So it got big out of the gate. This, I'm not sure if it's going to have the same similar thing. However, it is more indie, so if they don't do early access to get that profit, they might not be able to continue completing the game, and that's just an indie problem. You know, it's a small team usually, and that's just how it is.
And it will have a discount when it does go into EA with enough to really sink your teeth into when we get to that point. You cannot buy this game now, for the record. And we are not going to let you buy this game until into...
Okay, so he just said he will not let us buy this game.
EA, until we have something that's like really something fun and interesting that you can sink your teeth.
All right, that's a great way to do this. That is a perfect way to do early access, is you do not allow people to buy it unless it's at a good enough point or an addicting point of, oh shit, I need more. I need to play this more. And hopefully it goes in early access close to the release. I don't want to see this game in early access for like 4 years. I'm saying like, bring this into early access like a year before its release. And then that would be great. Because you don't want to get through all of the early access content before the game releases, because you don't want to burn yourself out.
Teeth into. You can wishlist this game.
So
if you're interested in following along with the development, again, we do have a Steam page up.
I am playing this day one.
And we would love for you to wishlist the game and you know.
Yeah, I'm wishlisting. I'm following
you can do that by
everything.
Just going down and add it to your wishlist, like I just did. But yeah, that's going to be big. So, there will be controller support, absolutely, yes. No, this game has no blockchain, Web3, or NFT integration of any kind.
Oh, thank God. That's great. That's awesome. So they're not doing the NFT thing. I think that is the problem that Dr. Disrespect is running into right now, where he's trying to get his own game that's going to be like NFT based. So I am glad that he's not going to go the NFT route, and that is awesome. I wishlist this game. I'm buying this day one, and I am going to be playing it. I hope that it doesn't stay Steam exclusive. I hope it actually ends up becoming something on like the Nintendo Switch. Like Stardew Valley, for example, got on a Switch. So I have it on Xbox. I bought it on Switch. I bought it on Steam. And I bought it digitally on Switch. And I ordered a physical copy on Switch. If this comes out on Switch, I'm buying it there. I'm buying it on Steam. If it comes out on console, I'm buying it on console. And if Limited Run makes a physical version, I'm getting it. If this game is good, definitely. But we will definitely check it out as soon as I'm able to on Steam.
And we do not plan on doing any of that either. Will it be coming to consoles? That is further down the road. So let's talk about this real quick. We're shooting for early access early next year. Now, there are going to be some core components of the game missing
early
at that
2024.
point, and we were, of course, going to be very clear about what you will get. But the thing about early access, the thing about this game in general, is that we are taking an approach to this game because not only do we want to with the game itself, but also I'm in a unique position for this. We are taking the approach of this game where we are helping the community decide what this game becomes. The best way that I can say that is when I was talking to Bryn, who's the guy that kind of brought me on board. He had this very specific, interesting example where Unknown Worlds, the makers of Subnautica, early in the development process, when they were having feedback on their demos, somebody asked the Subnautica devs, "Why don't I have food and water in this survival game?" And the Subnautica devs kind of went,
"Nani?
Is this a survival game?"
Okay, so I haven't played Subnautica, but I've watched people play it. I don't remember. Is there food and water in it now? I get his point. I do think that is a great way to do it, because, to be honest, that's basically what Minecraft did, right? Thing released as like a creative playground back in the late 2000s, 2000, like 8, 9, 10, whatever. And that was all it was. And they do snapshots like every week and all that stuff. And they constantly add what people want them to add. Even now, after Microsoft bought it, they still do that. They still progress the game. It's like Fortnite. It's like, yeah, Fortnite, you can say it's baby shit and all that stuff. It's whatever. I don't play it. But you have to admit that if you're going to do a game like that, that is the best way to do it. Like, what other game can you have anything you wanted given to you other than Fortnite? It's like, yeah, it's like if you love Fortnite and you love Dragon Balls, you could play as Goku. You like Marvel, Spider-Man's in it. Oh, you want to listen to music, Juice WRLD is there. You have so much different things. Like, you can't say they don't give the players what they want. So that is a great way of them doing it on here, is they're letting the players kind of say what they want to see, as long as these guys just don't give all of it to them. So as long as they're like, oh yeah, okay, that's great, but we have this other direction we want to go, so we're going to do that. As long as they kind of keep it well balanced, you don't want it to end up just shotgunning every random thing just on the screen. So as long as they do it smart, that is an amazing way to do it.
Is that how this should work? And then that started off this basically change into what Subnautica is today. And what Subnautica is today is absolutely freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're doing with Emberville. We have the core idea of what this game is. And then what we're going to do is, based on the path, I
believe Stardew Valley also does the same thing, don't it?
Develop it. We are going to be taking community feedback and basically turning it into the best version of itself that it can be. So,
all right, cool.
What we have so far, this is an action-heavy game.
All right.
There is a full creative build element to the game. So,
okay, so I'm guessing that's where that town comes into play.
So, as you'll see here, combat is fast. Combat is going to be customizable. There will be different weapon types. There will be different ways to play it. But at the heart,
I wonder if this character is just who you are, or if he could be customized. Because I think it would be really cool if you can create your own character. Although this like little Assassin's Creed blue fire guy looks pretty cool.
Like, there's going to be, like, this is a combat-focused game. These are some of the different environments which we plan to vary and have lots of different things to see. And one specific part I want to come up with and talk about is this part right here. So check this area out. Looks kind of like a general outdoor area. He's clearing out stuff and stuff like that. That's the same area.
Okay, so it is the same area, and then he just built this out then. That's cool. So I'm guessing this is a little house.
So one aspect of this game is that there's going to be a part of this game that you can basically customize, turn into, and make whatever you want to. Now, what's awesome about this is, obviously the next question is, where do you get all the materials and all the blueprints and stuff like that?
Well, I'm wondering if there's an overworld like Stardew where you cut down trees and stuff, or are you getting it all from the dungeons? Because, say wood, for example, there was a lot of wood crates in those dungeons. Let's see what he has to say.
Hold on to that thought. As you go down, you'll see here's another variant of the exact same area. So it's very much going to be like your area to develop. And then, of course, there's no way that I was going to be involved in a game like this if it didn't have a very extensive fishing system, which we do plan on making very extensive.
Okay, so that's cool, though. Fishing isn't something that I've been big into in video games, personally. I think it's okay in Minecraft. I think it's okay in Zelda. However, Stardew Valley probably has the best fishing. And if this place is using that kind of system as inspiration, it could be really cool. So that'd be exciting.
Oh, get the damn fish!
So, the cool thing about this game is here's how it works. There's big chunks of this game that you didn't see yet. So here's what's going on. Here's what's going on. The part that you saw right there is kind of like the creative building area, but there's another part of this area that is going to be more of a progressive, like a progressive building system. So there's this town. And I can't talk about this too much yet because we're going to let players explore this. But basically, kind of like how you have your farm in Stardew Valley and then there's the town. It's kind of like what it is here.
Okay.
But in the middle of this town is this kind of giant crystal called the Vitromos.
I'm guessing that's a blue thing
and
that
what that
appeared
giant
in the beginning of the
crystal
trailer.
is, for you guys, is a giant procedurally generated world. For my Path of Exile players, think a Delve map, but each map is like its own area with its own loot, its own monsters, its own little unique events. Now, inside of this giant procedural dungeon is going to be tons of things to find, tons of things to do, bosses, townspeople to rescue, things you need to do to restore the town. And as you do this, you will not only be progressing stories, meeting new characters, doing quests, progressing a main story, but you will also be doing all sorts of things to help build your world, build your character, get better equipment, make better potions, like tons and tons of different things to kind of progress your entire world forward.
All right, so that's cool, though. So the town builds as you are saving people and all that stuff. So unlike Stardew, where you go into like the little mines and everything, and that's where your dungeons are and all that stuff, I guess you just talk to the crystal. And then I wonder if it's different every time, or if there's like presets. You know what I mean? Like it says like you go to the crystal and you're like, oh, Forest 1, Forest 2, and those are different procedurally generated. Or if it's just you walk up to the crystal and hit check, and then it's like, here's a random thing. So I wonder which way it's going to be, if either.
We're also experimenting with this kind of progressive QL mechanic. You know, maybe you don't start the game with a mini-map, but then you rescue a cartographer, and then he gives you a mini-map. And then as you progress his quests, all of a sudden your very basic Vitromos map starts getting more and more detailed. You start getting more paths and know where to go. You start being able to find more things. At the very beginning of the game, maybe sorting is kind of a pain. Maybe there is no auto sort. But then as you get characters in your town, maybe you get auto sort. Maybe that leads into auto bank. Maybe that leads into items banking directly when you go into town automatically. So it's like this interesting idea of you start the game with kind of a more tediousness, kind of gamified version.
That's all good. Don't make it too tedious, though. Keep a balance. Because it's like, it'll be good if you can auto sort later on. But don't make it too tedious to the point where somebody rather just go do something else. So you got to be careful with that. But it is a really good idea. Same thing with a mini-map is I don't know if that's the best thing to do. Maybe have something like where you have the mini-map that's not actually just down in the corner. But I just realized I have the Diablo thing around my camera. Oh well. instead of having the mini map down in a corner or like not at all, maybe have like a very weird like a paper map or something. So it's like, here's the layout of the dungeon. Look at your surroundings and figure out where you are. That would be fine. But taking away maps in general so you get fucking lost, that might be a little bit of an issue. Hopefully they do that correctly, because it can be a really cool mechanic if done right.
Version, but then as you get towards the end of the game, then you start seeing more and more of this stuff become like automatic and things like that. Now again,
I do like that. I really hope that there's still it needs to feel not tedious enough that you'd rather do something else, but good enough that you love the journey and you do it again. Because I don't want to get to end game and be like, oh, I have no reason to ever restart. Because there's something about it, it's like, oh, I achieved this. This is amazing. And then let's start over. Because that's a great way to do it. Let me do it again. If it feels that rewarding, that would be an amazing way to do it.
I do need to say that this is a game that is in relatively early development. We do want to get the base part of the game prototyped and NEA early next year, but we're expecting another couple years plus of development after that. This will be a when it's ready game.
That's how you do it.
We will not be asking you for funding, and if we do need more for any reason, we will get it ourselves. So it is not a game where you can expect to have a rushed, half-assed version out at any point. It is going to be a game that is going to be something that is special. It will be done when it's done. When it hits 1.0, it's going to be rock solid. And all of this was a big part of me joining the project as a whole. So,
okay, so I think that's great then. Yeah, so you don't have it set up, so they're not going to ask for funding. So you don't have to worry about this being a Kickstarter issue or anything like that, it seems. So that's a really cool way to do it. They said they'll handle all the funding, which is, it's good. That's also a reason why it's good to have a content creator or a streamer, YouTuber and stuff like that as a backup. Plus, let's be honest, it's promotion, right? It's like, what you could spend a bunch of money to promote with ads for your stuff, and still not a lot of people can see it. And nowadays, when people are spending more and more time on the internet and on YouTube specifically, it's great to have like some type of like, I would say free, even though it's not really free, free publicity where you have a YouTuber backing your project. A lot of the indie games that Completionist talks about, I would have not have known they existed if it wasn't for the Completionist. Same thing, Emberville looks amazing. I would not have known this game if it wasn't for the fact that Asmongold reacted to Cohhcarnage already. And I saw him start reacting to this, and I was like, oh, hold up. Let me go ahead and watch this video on my own, because that looks cool.
I am very, very excited, and frankly, just I'm so pleased.
Applause, if you please.
This project. I do want to thank the team at Cygnus Cross for including me in this. It is for those that don't know, this is the game called Emberville. You can now find it on Steam for those that are asking. Bombadil says, is there any way to give money though? I would like to support something that you're behind. First of all, Bombadil, that is super cool of you. Second of all, no. How that works. No, but we are not looking for investment. We are not looking for any type of resources from the community.
Oh, the cat got up.
From you
it was real.
Is to enjoy this game when it's out. That's it. So, yeah. Pretty cool stuff. We are very much looking forward to telling you more and kind of and doing that. Why I signed up with it. So that's where we are right now, and I hope you enjoy Emberville. We'll see you at the channel, twitch.tv/Cohhcarnage. As always, thanks for your time, and see you later.
All right, guys, definitely go check him out on twitch.tv /Cohhcarnage, like he said. I think that's what he said. Listen to him. And yeah, if you want to watch this video, go watch it. And definitely rewatch it a couple times if you want. The trailer looks great. If you're interested, wishlist this game. I already did. This This game looks amazing. He's got 162 games in his wish list. It's about the same as me. So I am definitely getting this as soon as I can. I think that it looks amazing. If you want to check this out, go do that. He probably has, I think he has a playlist on his YouTube channel that has this video in it. His Emberville announcement. Check back there, I guess, every once in a while to see his updates. I am going to I went ahead and subscribe to him so I can see the Emberville updates. And yeah, I turned a 16-minute video into a 46-minute reaction. So I'm going to cut this down and upload it to the Dezrakaz channel and be annoyed that I accidentally left this Diablo 4 camera border. But I'll see y'all later. If you enjoyed, hit the subscribe button. And don't forget to game like a god. Peace.